Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of the podcast. So I still got Connor and Owen here. We just got done talking about the maritime industry. Now we're going to just goof off a little bit. You know, that's what episode 7 is going to be about. Talk about everything in between. So one thing that we were talking about off the air, Owen, I think we're talking about asking girlfriend's parents permission for marriage. Right. I don't know if that's a very modern thing or the young people growing up, they don't see it as important now. But in my opinion, I think it's very important to do that, to get permission or their blessing and ask their father and their mom for marriage. So what do you think? I know you wanted to clarify this position.
Right, yeah. So I remember that when we were talking about it, I was saying that, like, I don't want to do it in general, but that's not what I feel like. After thinking deep thought, I was like, all right, absolutely, I would talk. But I have beef with a few things. So permission, back in the old days, I feel like it implied ownership in a way of like, oh yeah, this is my daughter. Like I own her and I'm handing her over to you. That's like the whole walking down the aisle and shaking the hand, that kind of stuff. Besides that, I feel like when you ask permission, I have a few things wrong with that. For one, what if they say no? You have a few options. You
still gonna do it, right?
You either don't do it and you say okay, and then you make her wait until they are okay with it, or you go for it and you directly disobey whatever they're saying, or you just kind of give up. So I have issue with that. But my biggest issue is that you're diluting the idea, right? If you want to marry someone, I think we all have agreed that that's a big point in your life, right? Like if you want to marry, like it's probably one of the biggest decisions of your life. Hopefully it's the only time that you ever have to do that.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, working with the people that we've worked with, they have all gone through a few wives and so they've gone through that a few times. But I think that it dilutes it, saying, hey, look, can I marry your daughter? Like I want you to make the decision for me, that kind of stuff. In my opinion, I think you should ask for support, right? You say, hey, look, I love your daughter. I want to marry your daughter. It's not up to the dad, right? It's up to the daughter. So you're saying, hey, I want your support going to this. Hey, we're going to be a family, and I want to be a part of your family. Please accept me. And I want us to go in as a cohesive unit type deal. So I think permission, that's what I have wrong with it, and those are the reasons why. But I do think it is good to go ahead and say, hey, look, this is how I feel about your daughter. I really do love her, and I want to spend the rest of my life with her, that kind of stuff, and say, hey, look, I want your support, because at the end of the day, I am going to be family, and I want to go in this as a cohesive relationship rather than either not doing it at all or asking, hey, can I marry your daughter?
I think we come to agreement. I don't think it's permission. It's more blessing, or just get their consult and let them know ahead of time. Parents feel like they've been consulted and they were in the decision. I guess permission isn't the right word. Maybe they're just blessing. I feel like if you really love that person, you still want to get married, you're going to find a way to do it.
Right.
Even if they say no, I think you're going to make it happen. But what do you think, Connor?
I fully agree. I think when it comes time for me to get married, I'll be asking my girlfriend's parents at the time for their blessing. And I think it's a respectful thing to do. And I think they should be involved in the decision, because it's a big part of their life, a big part of their daughter's life. And maybe a little old-fashioned, but I think that's the respectful thing to do. I think people still do it. And I'll definitely do it. And like you said about the family, that they should be a part of the decision, or at least briefed at a time and made aware of the decision, because it's a big deal that you're going to be now a part of their family for the rest of your life. And like they say, you don't marry the daughter, you're marrying the family.
Yes.
So I think it's good to have them in on the decision, but you just want their support, and you don't want to ask permission. You want to go there with confidence, saying like, I want to marry your daughter. Like, go in there with confidence. Hopefully if you have a good relationship with them already, then it goes fine. The way I pictured it happening to me in the future would be, I ask for the blessing and I assume it'll go just fine.
Yeah.
But that would be pretty weird if it didn't go fine.
I feel like even before then, though, you already met the parents before. You hang out with them, spend time with them. So I think they kind of see it coming anyways. And if they don't want you to be the guy to marry their daughter,
it's probably already known.
It's probably well known beforehand. So I think you go in kind of within a reassurance of like, hey, I'm pretty sure they'll say yes. You do it just as a respect thing. At least that's where I'm thinking.
As all single guys, 26 years old, 25 years old.
Yes.
Me being the one bringing it up as the single person among you guys who are the people with girlfriends.
Yes. But yeah. But I think that's it, just in general, that's a good practice. At least in my opinion, I think we all agree. If you disagree, that's all right. You do whatever you got to do. But,
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Owen also asked me, do you need to ask for the blessing or for permission if you want to move in together? What do you think about that?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Do you think you do need blessing for that?
Yeah. For me, I think I'm just thinking if I was a dad and this is my daughter, I want the guy dating her to be very respectful, very upfront and everything, to show me that I can trust him to support my daughter and protect her. So I think all those small actions play a role and very calculated. So I just want to show the daughter's father that I'm very respectful, responsible, and all those things. I guess I just do it out of respect.
See, I kind of disagree with that. I
Really?
Think, yeah.
So go fuck yourself.
Yeah, Daehan, you're wrong.
Okay, let me hear it.
No, I think after talking about this, I would still bring it up to the family before we moved in. But I would say this is what we decided together, and we are doing this. I just want to see, how do you feel about it? Like, are you okay with this happening? But, like, it is happening. I don't think that when you move in together, you're not guaranteed to be a part of that family for the rest of your life. So I don't think you need to ask for their blessing. Maybe you should run it by them and talk to them about it. But when you brought up the fact that you're going to be supporting their daughter, I think that's more with marriage. I think then you really need the blessing because you are going to be supporting her for the rest of your life and being a part of the family. I don't know. I think that if you're in your mid to later 20s and you're moving in with someone, that I'm old enough to live with whoever I want to live with. Like, I don't think I need my parents' permission for that.
Yeah, I agree with Connor. And again, just to say,
So that's 2v1, Daehan.
yeah,
You're wrong.
yeah. I will say, just as a disclaimer, we are 25, 26 years old. We are not married and we do not have any children. So this is all speculation. But I do think that, people have to make their own opinion. Like, people have to make their own mistakes. That's what I mean. You don't want your kids growing up hating you. Like, you say, hey, look, I don't want you moving that person. No, I don't allow that. And then they grow up hating you because of that. Or, you have to make your own mistakes. I think that most of us have been in relationships that haven't ended up working out, but it's just, you have to take something away from that. There are mistakes that you make and you learn from them, right? You move in with someone that doesn't work out. There's a reason for it. You learn from it. So I think that, no, you don't have to ask permission. I wouldn't expect someone to ask permission.
Especially if you're mid to later 20s. But if you're like a 18-year-old just out of high school and then like my daughter wants to move in with some like sleazy guy, then I would step in.
Right.
But for the most part, if it's like if they're boyfriend and girlfriend and it's like two good people, I think they don't really need. And if they really don't want you to get married online, then they will not give you your blessing.
And also I think that if me as a person, if it's her that's trying to move in with me, I definitely don't have any business being in the relation. Like, I don't have any business being in the request of the daughter asking the parents type deal. So I don't think that if she wants to talk to her parents, that's nothing to do with me. Yes, I'll be there, tell them that I'm a great person and that I'm a safe person, and I will absolutely look out for anyone who lives under my roof. But I don't think that has anything to do with me.
But what if the dad is like, no, or like even the parents are like, no, I don't want this.
Cool. I bought my house. I'm going to live in it and, keep going. And if she wants to stay with me, that's on her. And, I will gladly talk to the parents about who I am as a person. But I think that her staying with me, that doesn't necessarily, it's not my business to talk to them.
See, the issue,
I think you still do it, but you do have to work on that parent relationship after that.
That's
if
what
they
I'm
say no,
saying.
You're gonna have
Absolutely.
to work on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
that's where my concern is. Like, if they say no to the moving in and they're not happy with it, but they're going to let it be, that might carry on when I have to ask for their blessing. And that relationship carries over. Because, like, when you are married now, you're marrying into the family. And now it's a lifelong thing. I feel like that might triculate to bad start to the relationship. That's where my concern is.
But as your friend and as your personal shooter, like, you're a great guy. There is no reason to not want someone to move in with you. And I think that if they have a problem with that, then that's not a problem on you, it's a problem on them. So
no, I know, but like, I'm just talking about in general. If the parents say no, they plan on getting married, you're starting up with a bad hand. You went against my want to not move in before marriage, or, if maybe they're old fashioned that way and they did it anyways. And now you're coming to them to ask for their daughters for marriage.
I think this is probably very common. This probably happens all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
Because how
That's
often
what
do
I'm
you
saying.
hear in a family where like, oh yeah, my brother, like no one likes his wife, or like, oh, like my daughter, like we don't like his husband. This probably happens all the time.
But is that a testament to your character or their character? That's the real question. I think it is because I think that you're a very respectful, honest person. I don't think it would happen to you. And that's the reason why I would say that it's not a testament to your character. It's a testament to their character. So yes, when you marry someone, you marry their parents. I don't think you should question your character because of their judgment.
I appreciate the compliments, but I don't think it's a question of my character. Like, I know who I am, but I just want to do everything in my power to have a good start to the marriage with obviously her and her family too. That's just my concern.
No, I
That's
get it.
my
You're setting yourself up.
With that mentality though, that I think the relationship with the family would have already been good enough to move in. And then if you kept that mentality, and then if they say no, then like work on the relationship. But I think to make this problem not a problem, do some like lay the groundwork ahead of time of this is to have a good relationship with the parents ahead of time.
Right.
So something you should always work on. And then if this is not going to go well, it's because of that in the first place. It's because they don't like you and you don't like them, or someone doesn't have the best character. So as long as you have good relationships with everybody and you work on that and like actually pay mind to it, then I don't think any of it will be an issue.
Yeah, and I feel like in a way, not to go back to the maritime industry, but I feel like in general, as long as you're not an asshole, you have a leg up on the competition, right?
Yeah.
Like as long as you're like a solid part, like you don't have to be a great guy. You just have to not be an asshole, and then you're going to do well.
I think we're on a common footing that if we're going to get married, we go to the parents and ask them for blessing. If you had to do it right now, what is your philosophy on how you would go about doing that?
So my girl's name is Ann Visible. I go up to Mr. and Mrs. Visible and say, hey, look, I really love your daughter. And after being with her, I know that we are
So
compatible.
do you call them? Like, how?
No,
is
you
it
can't-
setting?
you can't
Do you just
call
go to
them, you
their
can't
house?
text
I was
them.
thinking
No,
you could
no,
maybe
no.
like take them out. For
Yeah,
lunch
that's
or
what I'm saying. Like,
Absolutely.
no, I'm saying you
Yeah.
call them to set this like
Yeah.
like thing up. Like, hey, let's go to dinner.
Yeah.
Like, or
without your girlfriend.
yeah, obviously. But
And
I'm
you
just
gotta be a
saying,
little sneaky about it because
Yeah.
I've never hung out with my girlfriend's family without my girlfriend.
oh
So
yeah,
you have
yeah,
to be a little sneaky about it and
Yeah.
get
Maybe catch them on the side, say, hey, I'd like to take you out to dinner and talk to you about something.
Yeah. When your girlfriend's in the bathroom, be like, this Friday night we have reservations here. It's just for us. I want to talk to you about
Then
something.
they clearly know it's coming.
And or say like, I don't know, can we please set up a time to have dinner, just the two of us
Yeah,
or just the three of us?
yeah.
And you just gotta be a little sneaky about it because I know for sure that like I've never hung out with my girlfriend's family without her. So it's like, how do you get them
Exactly.
alone? But
Yeah.
just be a little sneaky about it and definitely dinner.
That's another thing.
And then
How
you
do
pay. You pay for dinner too.
Well, yeah, of course. That goes without saying. Yeah. Hey, like I want to marry your daughter, but can you pay for dinner? Because I'm a little strapped for cash.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that has no reflection on our outlook, though. We're okay though.
Well, if
Spent it
they
all in the
say
ring, you know?
no, if they say no, you can split the check. But if they say yes, then you pick up the check.
You say, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. and
No,
then
no,
dip
3
out.
checks come to the table. Hey, here's for you, yeah. But that's the thing, right? Like, how do you even get to a point where you ask them discreetly so your girlfriend doesn't know? And like, where do you take them? Where do you go? And like, how do you ask?
I don't know. I feel like you got to be in the mindset for one. Like you gotta know. Like you gotta be confident enough, and then I feel like it just kind of comes to you. Yeah. I feel like most things kind of just fall into place. You know,
I
that,
think it'll fall into place.
yeah, I don't think there necessarily has to be a plan. Like you don't have to have this. Hey, on this date, I'm gonna take them aside and say, hey, look, I want to talk to you this day about this and all that stuff. It just kind of falls into place.
That's very Hallmark advice, hallmark of romantic comedy type of
Owen
Exactly.
loves rom-coms.
Yeah,
100%.
That's his favorite.
Hey, I
Forgetting
like
Sarah
it
Marshall,
too.
number one.
Huh?
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh, great movie.
I don't know if you know, but when Connor and I worked together on the boat in Hawaii, we both jumped off of the place that it was filmed in. We jumped off of
really?
a rock into the ocean.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
What is the best way to ask a girl out?
Ask girl out.
Now with Tinder and all these dating apps, what's the best way?
I'm
to
not
go
a big fan. I definitely like. I don't like approaching someone and using a pickup line, and I don't like Tinder or stuff like that. I like it just to happen a little more naturally. Like we're at a party or a pregame or a barbecue, not necessarily at the bars, and you'd like go up to another group of girls and like just pick them up. I like being in a room with somebody throughout the course of a night and getting to know them, and then if I'm like starting to vibe with them, starting to get to know them, starting to vibe with them, and then I feel that I like it, then I'll not necessarily shoot my shot, but then I'll start the flirting and then this and that. Then at the end of the night, I usually ask for like oh, can I get your number? Like I'd like to hang out again.
Yeah.
So I don't do the whole like straight up shoot your shot with a pickup line. I like it to be over the course of a night.
Yeah, for me, honestly, I don't think I've ever dated a girl that, I haven't known somewhat likes me. So I feel like I've always gone in kind of knowing that they thought I was cute or something like that. I've gone in knowing, hey, look, I could probably end up getting a date with this. So I don't know. I've never really gone up to anyone and shot my shot like that.
Really?
Yeah, never. I'm way too scared.
So say you're in a bar setting and you're kind of hitting it off and you guys are having a good time and it's like 12 o'clock and the bar's about to close down, or maybe 2 o'clock. And
Yeah,
the bar's about to close
absolutely. I mean, if we're having a good time, that kind of stuff. But it's just the initial going up to them. Like, I don't know. That scares me.
My game's pretty weak for the initial. I don't know if that's even like successful. They work that well for me. Struck a conversation and then by the end of the night, gotten something to work. But like the immediate pickup line for a number or something, that's never really worked.
I've never just gone up and approached someone I don't know.
down. How do you find someone either in person or?
It's always been through acquaintances. acquaintances.
Yeah, friends of friends
Oh.
and stuff. People introducing me.
That's
or just,
very common.
just showing up to a party and there's a lot of people there, and I end up talking to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just vibe with random people, that kind of stuff, or people that like you have, through other people.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I'm good at like talking to people, but I'm not good at like picking up somebody.
Yeah.
Like I can go, male or female. I can go talk to girls at
Right.
a party all night. I have no problem with that. But like doing it with the obvious intention at a bar to pick them up,
Yeah.
it's like that's not my thing.
And I think it's better friends of friends are there and it's like a large group and then you just kind of like have some sort of interest or oh, she seems really cute. And then you just kind of like, oh, like, who do you know here? And then you kind of spark up a conversation like that. No?
I've never done that.
Really? Man. Have you ever done like online dating, like apps?
I tried it, and I did try it once, and I went out with a girl on like a Tinder date, and it was all right. But I don't know. It just never worked that way.
Do you think the old traditional fashion, a way of meeting someone is better, or the online dating app, the way we have it now, is better?
I kind of like the friend of a friend type deal, because you always have a leg up in a way, and they always like.
That's true.
Because there is some sort of backstory about the person, and you always have something in common to talk about, that friend.
Yeah.
So it never gets awkward in that sense.
Or it's like a friend that you kind of knew for a little bit, but just never been romantic, and then now like you just kind of like you could rekindle and then you just spark into a beautiful relationship. That's kind of nice too.
I think it's pretty common, especially after high school and after college, when you're home and then you see someone from high school or college, and like, oh, I'm definitely going to talk to this person. I haven't seen her in 2 years.
Yeah.
And we were definitely friends back in the day. And then you see them that night and you have no problem going to talk to them.
Yeah.
Because you already know them. And then something sparks. I think that's pretty common.
Very specific example you give it off.
Yeah, that hasn't happened to me like multiple times or anything.
No, but I think that's a good example because you know each other very well and you know like how they are as a person. Maybe it wasn't the right time in high school, but maybe after college when you have your jobs and still nearby and it's the right time.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common.
What are small things that a guy can do to try to impress their girlfriend?
I think Owen and I are both hopeless romantics.
Really?
I am, and I just have the feeling that you are, especially with the rom-coms and stuff.
No, Owen definitely, he will do everything and beyond for his girlfriend. Like I know it for sure.
No.
I don't know.
Which is a great thing, though.
No,
I think it's a great thing.
I think you just got to know yourself. So know what you are and what you're about and bring that to the relationship.
Definitely don't try to be someone else. Definitely be yourself.
100%.
It'll help you in the long run. Just be yourself.
Women
Maybe
are,
the little funnier version of yourself.
I
But
think funny is huge.
but I feel like women can pick up on that when you're not you, when you're not genuine. So
Yeah.
be yourself. And, if they don't like you for that, then all right.
I would literally
you
give
next.
myself like pep talks. So I was starting to get a little nervous about going on a date or when I'm on a date.
Really?
Or in the beginning of a relationship. Then I'd be like, all right, Connor, relax. Like, just be yourself. I would literally talk to myself.
Really?
And just be like, all right, relax. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
That's
But
true.
then I think just setting things up and trying to have things go well, like set up dinners, cook for them. Before having a girlfriend, I never looked on the Facebook events thing. But now I look on that all the time. And
Great.
I've gone to awesome concerts, like brew festivals,
Yeah.
like fruit picking festivals, which is a super like girlfriend thing to do. But like
Yeah.
a lot of like cute little towns around me have like their own little festivals.
They love it, though.
And then, and like, I don't know, we actually have a ton of fun. And then we went to this one thing, a party downtown with like 5 different stages and a bunch of like pop-up craft tents and other tents from all shops all around Annapolis. And we had no clue that it had been going on for like 10 years every year. And now we're trying to go every single year because it was a blast.
Yeah.
So like you'll end up finding things that you love to do together. So I guess just try to always have stuff planned, stuff to look forward to.
Good to have events planned because then it's always on you to come up with events. Just be on the lookout for like Groupon, like Facebook events, like
It's
you
a good
talked
idea.
about.
Groupon's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great deals out there, and you don't have to break the bank for events. So be on the lookout for different things, activities you guys can do together, and make good memories instead of just buying her things. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
lot better. That's what girls appreciate.
Yeah, making memories, doing something where you have the opportunity to make memories. And
Yeah.
then, I don't know. I like buying things for my girlfriend. Like she
Flex.
always says I'm too much, and I'm like, she can't help it. But even the little things, like 2 years
What's
ago.
the most recent thing you bought for your girlfriend?
Well, her birthday's coming up, so a birthday present. But I don't want to say it on the
Yeah.
air because then
Yeah,
it's
because
gonna
she's
give
definitely
away.
listening for sure.
Oh, she'll listen. I think I've told her about your
Oh,
podcast
really?
already. Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think about the most recent thing. I have a good example that I'll just give. But
Okay.
it's not recent. Like I for a couple years ago, I got her a trip to New York City for Christmas.
Oh,
So that was like a big thing, and we were looking forward to it. But then just she got super excited about that, and of course we had a lot of great memories in New York. But then like on the same thing, they got her almost as equally excited is I got her a box of pens because she's a teacher and she loves these like special pens. So if you
A box of pens?
pens, yeah,
Oh,
they're
really?
called flare pens.
Yeah.
And I guarantee
Oh.
all teachers know what they are. They're like super nice tipped, colorful pens. And just we were walking. She loves Target, like most girls in their mid-20s do.
Yeah, every guy does too.
I love Target too.
100%.
Yeah.
Target.
So we're walking by an aisle with craft stuff and teacher stuff, and it was actually like a teacher section set up at the beginning of the school year. And she sees the flare pens, and she's like, "I love these pens." And then so we leave, and the next day I go back, buy the pens, and then a couple days later I just give them to her, and then she's like super excited, told her whole family. So it's
Really?
yeah, it's like little,
Wow.
it's just little things. So if you're in the beginning of a relationship, I wouldn't say like be too much and cook dinner every night and go get flowers, but just little things that you know they're gonna get excited about.
See, fellas, it's not about breaking the bank every time. You don't have to get her jewelry. It's keen to detail and, listening. That goes a long way.
Yeah, it's like quality over quantity,
Exactly.
It's not how many gifts you get, but the right gift.
What other locations? I know you went on a New York trip, but other locations in the works, or that you would recommend for a couple to go?
Love doing beach trips.
Okay.
There's a place in Southern Maryland that's on Chesapeake Bay, which isn't really a beach because it's not the ocean, but I guess kind of is a beach called Cabra Cliffs. And you can go there and you can find shark teeth, which is pretty cool. And so I made these little sifters and we sift for shark's teeth. And so we do that a lot. And we went to the Outer Banks last year. So I don't know, beach trips, just anything that's fun. Like we just love trying to do things together that are fun. So always be having fun in the relationship. And if it's not fun, then it's not worth it. I think you should be having like a blast in the time of your life with the person you're dating.
Man, that's awesome. Oh, and sorry, I want to talk about your car. That was
My car.
Yeah, that was your big first purchase out of
It's completely irresponsible.
Yeah,
100%.
Well, I mean, you even admitted it yourself. Where I want to go with this is like the big purchase you right out of college. Maybe each of one of us. I honestly don't know if I made a big purchase out of college, like a big one, like a car or whatever. But you want to talk about your car?
Right. So I did the typical oil field trash. I went and bought a truck. No, not really. Honestly, if you asked some of my friends from Maritime, like I was always wanted a Tacoma. My first car was a 1996 Toyota 4Runner. So I love, those styles. And I wanted a Tacoma because I knew it would last forever. And it was, functional and utility and all that. So I bought new because Tacomas are, the number one car to hold their value. And I was like, oh, well, I could buy a used one, and I probably should have bought a used one. But I got in there, and I love it, and I don't regret it at all. And I'm going to run it into the ground or, give it to a sibling that'll run into the ground. And I'm not worried about it at all. But, at the time, probably not the best decision. But then I bought a house, and I feel like that is a very financially wise decision, and that made up for it.
You even admitted yourself because you asked me, and then you're like, "Yeah, I know it wasn't probably the best financial decision to make."
Oh yeah,
to buy a car.
I preferenced the conversation with. I know this is a horrible.
Yeah, you did start off with that.
But what do you think about it?
Yeah,
and it's a great truck.
It is a great truck, and it is a Toyota. You can run it for life, essentially.
100%.
Yeah. So honestly, I think all in all, like even though it might be a little bit pricey car, I think it's a good purchase. You, Connor?
No, I didn't have any big post-college purchases
Really?
like that. I've been saving up just for the house. But I know that's like the typical thing. You get out of college, make a little bit of money, and then you buy something big like a truck. That's like the first go-to thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that, but I do like that you 100% knew it was irresponsible.
Exactly.
And you're like, I don't care, I'm doing it anyways. Like, I know what I want, and I'm going to do it.
Hey, now you can afford it, son.
Now let's talk about that. I didn't wait till after my first job where I went out for 3 months and then I went out for another 15 days. Like I waited till I had a salaried job where I knew I was gonna stay for a little bit. And my little brother needed my other cars to go to college. So I was like, all right, I guess if I have to buy something, I'll buy a new Tacoma.
It is a nice car.
I love it.
It's very useful too, and I did benefit from it.
That's true.
Yeah, helped
Absolutely.
me with the move.
Yeah.
So Connor, you're looking for a house, right?
Yep, I've been looking for almost a year, maybe like 8 months.
Really?
Yeah, I think maybe like seriously for 8 months. But then just like 4 months before that, I was like just checking out houses on Zillow.
So are you looking for? Where are you looking? Annapolis?
Yeah, I live in Annapolis. So the surrounding areas are Arnold's Front Park and Edgewater, and then like the actual town of Annapolis versus like just the zip code of Annapolis. I'm looking pretty much just in that area.
Yeah.
Right.
Sadly, real estate's kind of expensive there, but
Yeah,
like
it is.
just the typical, very rentable townhouse.
Oh, the townhouse?
That I could rent out after I move on to my next home. But maybe like a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom with like a small yard. That would
Find a duplex,
be fine. Or a duplex would be awesome.
Have someone pay your mortgage.
Yeah.
Live on the other side.
That would be great.
I'm trying to find something that has a basement that's already fully livable with a kitchen and a shower and everything. So maybe I could possibly rent out the basement.
Yeah.
Just something like that. But I don't know. Hopefully, I don't think it's going to happen this time I'm home because the market is crazy high, as you guys know, and you just bought, so you know.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping the next time I come home in the winter, I've heard the winter is a better time to buy because less people are buying then.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping the next time I'm home, I'll ship out in the fall, I'll be going all fall, come back in the winter, and hopefully I'll be ready then.
I think it should go down, but also the interest rate might slowly creep back up.
Maybe a little bit, but they're supposed to stay low for the next few years.
Yeah.
I was talking to people about that, and they were saying not to worry about it too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might. Yeah. We can't predict it. It could stay high through this next year. And I was really hoping there'd be like the big crash.
Yeah.
Get something real cheap. But that's I think a little farther out.
It sucks to say that, you know, because people are going to lose their houses, but at the same time, you know, it's a good investment opportunity.
That is true.
It sucks to make your money off of people, you know.
But that's
true.
But that's like stocks though. Like when things are really, really high, normally you shouldn't buy. But like when things are really, really low, you should buy. That's where the opportunities are. And you should find crashes as an opportunity to buy things. So, and Connor has to drop off. I know he has a priority. So Connor, thanks for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you. And I hope you have a safe trip back, buddy.
All right. Thanks for having me, my man. Honored to be here. You're the two guys that I come to talk about anything already.
Yeah.
So doing it on the podcast was a great opportunity, and I'm definitely really proud of Daehan for starting this podcast.
Absolutely.
And being a life coach, following his dreams, and the fact that I talked to these two guys about anything already was pretty cool that I could do it in the podcast setting. But all right, thank you for having me. I'm gonna run.
All right, thanks, buddy. All right, Owen. It's one man down. Now it's our show, buddy.
There we go.
Yeah, thank God he's gone. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, have a safe trip, buddy. So even though Connor's looking for a house, and we're slowly at that age where we move out, we're still, well, at least I was up till 26 living with my parents, and I enjoyed it. But how big of an aspect is family to you?
Well, I was living with my family until I was 25. Yes, I think I signed I was 25. But family is the most important thing in my life, honestly. And it took me a lot to find out that it was the most important thing in my life.
What helped you find like the importance of it?
I think it was past relationships, stuff like that, where, you know, I would have had to invest time into a relationship, and that would have taken me away from the most important thing in my life, which was being a big brother. I have 4 younger siblings, and they are the most important thing in my life. You know, I love my friends, I love my family, those 4 kids, that is my life. You know, I think I carry a lot of guilt going up to school, being in New York for 4 years, living in Virginia. Talk to them all about that, and they don't hold it against me. They love me for that, and they're like, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And I spend a lot of time with them now, and I love talking to them about it, you know. And they're great kids. I love them all, you know.
So you're the eldest. So I think there are a lot of pressures with that.
Right.
And I'm the youngest, so I don't feel any of that.
Right.
So I want to pick your brain on that. What kind of pressures do other people not know about as the oldest?
You know, being the oldest, it's interesting. You know, you go through all the firsts, right? Your parents are going through their first kid. I mean, my dad had a daughter before me. You know, my older sister Ashley, I love her a lot. She's great. And then when he met my mom, they had me, and that was interesting for her and for them. You know, I definitely took the brunt of new parents, that kind of stuff. And then 6.5 years later, they had Sam. And then after that, they adopted Eva, and then they adopted Lucy and Emmett. So I had all the firsts. I had the harder life. That's the air quotes, you know, the harder life. I got all the responsibility, but with the responsibility came, you know, greatness. I love those kids. So I never have anything bad to say about them. You know, being an older brother it's not a curse at all. You know, you're a free babysitter, but it's such a blessing. You know, having little kids with you there, you know, being an only child was so dull for 6.5 years. And then Sam was in the mix and life was great. And then Eve was in the mix and life was even better. And then Emmett and Lucy came in. You know, I don't think it was ever a struggle involved. It was just, you know, it was always a great time.
So I think this might be an off case. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of siblings who have their share of bickering, especially with their older, the middle, you know. So how do you go about not having those arguments, or did you have some of your share as well?
Oh, there's 100% arguments. I mean, there always was, and there still is arguments to this day. But I think, you know, you just have to come from a place of love, right? You know that everyone's learning. They know I'm learning. Sam, my little brother, he knows that with him, just like my parents, like he was the first little brother. Like that was the first time I was ever an older brother, and then you become a little better of an older brother, when Eva came in the picture, and then Lucy and Emmett came in, and then it's, you're even better older brother. You kind of sharpen those skills, and not to say, somehow Sam became, great older brother. I got to give him credit. I've never seen him as a bad older brother, and it was hard learning from him to be a better older brother. But, that kind of checks your ego a little bit. But I think it's all a learning experience. Every argument, there's always been a silver lining on the other side. Like, that there's hard times, but, at the end of the day, we're all blood, it's all going to work out.
Yeah. So I think the family relationship is very tricky at times. You don't choose your family, but
right.
You have to work around them, love them no matter what, through
right.
thick and thin. And I know out of all the people I know, you have probably the most thriving and just unconditional love of family environment. So how do you, of course, there's going to be, every family has their issues, every family has their ups and downs, but how do you, as a family member, do your best to contribute to a loving, great environment in family dynamics?
I think I always have a healthy guilt when I'm being with friends. I enjoy the time that I'm with them, but then I'm like, I should be with my siblings, putting in that time. But I think that the biggest thing for me was coming back after being away from them for 4 years. It was just, they forgave me for that. I don't think that they ever thought of it as me seeking forgiveness.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But it was something I thought of. Lost 4 years of their lives. And as kids, Sam was 15 when I went off to, he was younger than that, but I lost out on 4 years of their lives nonetheless, at a young age. So I figured that as a big brother, it's something that I would have wanted out of my big brother.
As they get older, how are you going to continue to have that positive relationship and stay connected as you guys grow up?
Well, I've always encouraged them to do their own thing. I do think it was a good idea to go out of state for school because it encourages them to do the same, go out. You're not tied down to the family. You're not tied to Williamsburg or where the family is. Home will always be where the family is, I think. But you should always go out, live your life, come back. I think that, they should go out and live life. And that's something I encourage them. And I think that texting is great because I can be out on the rig and I can text them and be like, hey, how are you guys doing today?
True.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But as a little sibling, what made what were the positives, what were the negatives, that kind of stuff?
As the youngest, I think I've seen a lot of their struggles and mistakes, and I was able to benefit from that.
Right.
Like learn what not to do and what to do to get to a certain objective faster. So I definitely appreciate that about them. And they were always willing to share that and always selfishly, hey, do this so you don't make the mistakes I did. And especially for when it comes to like high school and academics, I was never a good student, but they were like, please do what you need to do now because high school is very easy. Right. And college will always get harder, and life will get harder. So if you put yourself in a better position now, better grades, you will it will be easier in the long run. It's funny because it was so true looking back at it now, but at the time, it went through one year out the other. And I was like, high school, I'll just get through it. And then, life will be fine. But, hindsight's 20/20. But they're always quick to always help me out and be there for me. And no matter how mad I got them to be or how much under the skin I got, they will always love me no matter what,
Right.
And that might not always be the case if it's a friend. If I got them pretty upset, if I wronged them in any way, that could be an end of a relationship. But with them, it's never that. They know that it's just a day, it's just an incident or a situation, but we're able to overcome it and find ways to overcome it. The things I learned from that, it carries over to all aspects of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that with your siblings, there's kind of an unspoken thing. It's like, look, we could fight, we could bicker, but at the end of the day, we're going to make it through this. And, I'm going to try everything I can to make it through this. And then,
So that is it. I know we were able to kind of bring it full circle from asking proposal to marriage to girlfriend and boyfriend and how to succeed in that to family. So I feel like it was a very wholesome, holistic podcast episode. Hopefully we'll be able to continue on and carry on. And I just want to thank Connor and Owen coming on and bringing a lot of value about the maritime industry and providing a lot of insight there, but also share about their family and their kind of experience with their relationships as well. So Owen and Connor, I know Connor's not here right now, but Owen, I want to thank you so much for coming on, buddy.
Dude, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and it was a great time.
And I can expect future episodes?
Oh, absolutely. I'm here whenever.
Okay, you got it. All right, that's it, everybody. Thank you.